Hi everyone, welcome back to another Art and Talk. I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to explore the idea of how things aren't always as they seem, but sometimes that's actually a good thing. Things aren't always as they seem, but sometimes that's a good thing. And I kind of had the idea to expand on this topic because of a situation that happened today. I love to start things off with a story time. So, my friend and I had traveled to a small town within the city that we're currently studying at for school. We just wanted to explore the place, and we had gotten some gift cards because we won a raffle. And so, one of the gift cards was for this specific restaurant, and it was for a specific nationality. It was specifically for Portuguese people, but it was a restaurant and anybody was welcomed. And so my friend and I had ended up going, and to be completely transparent, we're not Portuguese, we're not white, we are black. We do live in 2026 where race happens to matter a lot, and there are a lot of stereotypes and all of these things. And so, to be completely honest with you, when we drove up there and the restaurant was wide open, the doors were wide open, I looked inside and it was a bunch of, older aged white men and white women. And of course, this is a Portuguese restaurant. And so immediately I felt out of place. I felt like if we walked in there, they would all be staring at us. I felt like if we walked in there, we would get rude service. They wouldn't be hospitable towards us. And this isn't because I feel this way about Portuguese people or that I feel this way about white people, but it was because of the past lived experiences that I have. I'm not used to being treated correctly or being handled well because of my race. And so when my race is something that sticks out like a sore thumb, I don't expect to be treated correctly. And so it just seemed like that's how we would be treated if we went there. And what ended up happening was I was trying to avoid eye contact and avoid even going inside. But my friend ended up getting the attention of a server, and she was just like, "Hi, ladies, like, is there anything I can help you with?" And she ended up walking us into the restaurant. She was so, like, God bless her soul. I feel like she was an angel. She was so perfect. She was so sweet. She spoke with us, she showed us around, she helped us get comfortable, she sat us down, she got us menus. Everybody down to the server, to the men that were already in the restaurant, like every single person was so sweet, despite the fact that we were the only people of color there. And that just had me thinking, like, things are not always as they seem. And a lot of the times when we hear that phrase, things aren't always as they seem, we immediately think negatively. We immediately think of something going wrong. But what if things weren't always as they seemed, and that's a good thing? Because to me, I thought that was going to be such a horrible experience. I thought we were going to have such a hard time, and things just flowed so smoothly. Things were just so easy. And I think through that experience, God just kind of taught me, like, we walk into a lot of situations in our lives, we walk into a lot of relationships, we walk into a lot of circumstances thinking we have the whole picture, and we walk into these things with preconceived notions and judgments and assumptions, and we have such little to go off of, but our mind convinces us that what we're thinking something may be is what it actually is. And when we've been hurt before in the past, when we've been betrayed before in the past, when we've suffered a lot, it can get really easy sometimes to expect suffering. I was having a conversation with God today, and I was like, I keep apologizing because I'm like, God, sorry if it feels like I'm not spending a lot of time with you, or sorry if I've just been so, like, happy in the groove of life that it feels like I'm not talking to you as much. And I tend to have a really hard time deciphering conviction and condemnation. And God just had to check me in that moment, and he was just like, I'm not only present during suffering. Like, you can enjoy your time, you can be having a good season, and I'm still there. I'm not just there when you're suffering. I'm not just there to make you suffer. And I think a lot of us have this mindset of, like, we always have to suffer for something, or we always have to suffer in this area because we've suffered in this area in the past. And for me, with the past experiences that I've had, I expected to come in here and be met with resistance. I expected to come in here and be met with hostility, and God just completely flipped the switch. And that just not only taught me to stop judging people, but it also taught me that we don't always have the full story, and sometimes that is a good thing. Sometimes we don't have the full story because God is telling us to wait and see. Sometimes we don't have the full story because if we had the full story, then we would mismanage what He's giving us. And so I thought it was just so important to highlight that sometimes it's good to go into situations blindsided, to not know what to expect, to have lived experiences and things you think are going to happen, but push those to the back of your mind and expect God to blow your mind. Expect God to do something new. Expect your situation, expect who you are to become the exception to the rule. And kind of off topic, but I was watching this TikTok, and this girl was talking about how a lot of people will try to project their negative feelings onto you, or what they don't think they can do. They try to project that onto you. And she was talking about the job market, and she was saying, I quit my job to pursue something that I really feel led to do. And, I had some people telling me, like, the job market is so bad. Don't quit your job. Work the job while doing the passion. And she just said that she felt so offended that people were telling her that, because she felt led to do this, and people were projecting the fact that of their lived experiences, of the negative experiences that they had onto her. But I dare you to explore the idea that, what if you were the exception to the rule? What if everything went negatively and everybody struggled in this area, but you were the exception to the rule? What if things were different this time when you did it? What if you expected the worst and you got the best? So I don't know. I just wanted to share that, and it's a little bit shorter than most of my episodes are, but it just had me thinking, like, we go into a lot of situations thinking we know what's going to happen, or even thinking that we have the slightest idea of what's going to happen, and God can completely change the trajectory of our lives. And it's just so important to fix our hope and to fix our expectation on better things, because we can and we will be the exception to the rule. We do not have to suffer in this place because we suffered in the past. We don't have to suffer in this place because our parents suffered in this place. We don't have to suffer in this place because everybody from our hometown suffered in this place. You can be the exception to the rule, and it's important to explore the idea that things aren't always as they seem, and that is a good thing. Sometimes it's good that you expected the worst and you got the best. And I hope that in moments like that, you teach yourself and you learn the lessons that these moments bring, to show you that, like, I can do anything that I put my mind to, and I can do anything through Christ our Lord. We don't have to settle for less. We don't have to expect what everybody else is expecting. We don't have to expect the bottom of the barrel. We can expect good and get good. Same way when we expect bad, we get bad. The same way we can change and challenge our minds to expect good and to get good things in return. So I hope this kind of gave you a new perspective on thinking. Tell me what you think about this topic, and thank you for joining me on an Art and Talk, and I can't wait to see you back next time.